Welcome to the driver's seat. I'm standing in front of the 2024 Volkswagen Atlas SCL R-Line, and starting price is just under $55,000. There are 6 trim levels in this 3-row family crossover, a segment that's very important to many American families. The base model starts under 40. As mentioned, this one is just over 55 with a few extra options. The outgoing Atlas model was offered in 2 engine options, 4-cylinder and V6. Now there's just a 4-cylinder turbo, producing 269 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque, and has a towing capacity of 5,000 pounds. Now those numbers are actually better than the V6. And 0 to 60, 7.3 seconds. Doesn't sound very exciting, but considering this segment, it's actually pretty good, and that's faster than the V6. So they've done a good job with engines, even though we know that Volkswagen is a car company that is transitioning hard towards being all electric. You're looking at the interior of the 2024 Atlas, and I hope you like red, because that's kind of the color color scheme that they have gone with. So you have Apple CarPlay, and if you want to get back to, like a lot of these vehicles, to, for example, Sirius XM, then you need to go through several steps. But back to the main screen here, that's their navigation, and you're looking at a 12-inch screen. The outgoing model had an 8-inch screen, so this is a nice upgrade, but these buttons are a mess. You know, to change the climate control, it's just not great. Volume, just not in love with this system. Anyway, we'll take it for a ride, but they've done a pretty good job of cleaning up the center stack here. You've got nice, there are some buttons, and they're very much appreciated. For example, accessing climate and turning down the fan is relatively easy. This R-Line, you also get features like a heated steering wheel, heated seats, etc. There's a new shifter for the Atlas that takes up almost no room. In my opinion, it's fine. Shift by wire, does a good job. 2 cup holders, plenty of storage, and 2 USB-Cs. There are no more USB-As, I guess. All USB-C. And of course, you have Apple CarPlay, so pretty much everything that you would expect in a vehicle of this price point. You have a nice, proper digital cockpit. It's not the virtual cockpit, that's Audi's thing, but it's the same company. So moving over to the steering wheel, you have a very proper, well-padded leather steering wheel, leather-wrapped steering wheel. A lot of very small buttons that do take a little getting used to, but I like the fact that they're nicely recessed, and all the controls are proper. Overall, Volkswagen did a nice job, especially with this R-Line. This is the top of the line, so you expect more, and you could see some nice touches like the contrast stitching, for example. So, and I've heard people complain about the interior. I think the interior is fine. I just wish there were more buttons here. But like I said, I'm glad that at least had the climate button that lets you access that easily. Also, a drive mode button. So in fact, we're going to go into sport and take you for a little spin. As mentioned, there's only one powertrain option, and it's made it to an 8-speed automatic transmission. The shifts are fine. Certainly like it better than a CVT, but as you just heard, during some hard accelerations, it could be a little whiny. And look, when you put a 4-cylinder engine into a big vehicle like this, that's what's going to happen. They're going to work pretty hard. You hear those turbos spinning. If you think about where Volkswagen was about 10 years ago, they had like 1 SUV, maybe 2, and they made a statement they needed to get more SUVs. At one point, there was a VW Touareg that was awesome. It had a V10 diesel. A V10 diesel. That thing could pull as much as a F-150 pickup truck. And now they have like very mainstream crossovers, in my opinion. And you know, they got in trouble with the whole Dieselgate issue, so they've transitioned. Not just because of that, but I think it accelerated their transition into fully electric. For a large vehicle, large family vehicle, the R-Line does handle nicely. And now we are in the top of line R-Line, which has sportier tires and we're told slightly different tuned suspension. Again, not the fastest. I mean, considering we just drove an all-electric Kia EV9, which is very similar in size to this vehicle, that vehicle is 3 seconds faster, 0 to 60. One thing I will say about the Atlas, especially from this angle, it's a very spacious crossover. You can look at the numbers if you want, but it really comes down to how it feels when you drive it and when you're sitting in it. And this vehicle feels rather large. I have a ton of headroom, leg room, shoulder room. Definitely one of the roomiest crossovers in the segment. The expectations on sales for VW are pretty modest for the Atlas. Yes, this is an important segment, but their focus is clearly on electrifying the brand. I feel like this vehicle is more of a placeholder until they can get something to replace it, but because it's relatively new, expect to see the Atlas around probably till the end of the decade, and then it'll probably get retired. But as you could hear, a lot of road noise, and that's partially due to the sportier tires. A lot of engine noise. It's kind of a noisy vehicle, and if that doesn't bother you, then great. But for some people, that may be an issue. So there you have it. We've enjoyed our week with the Atlas. It's not the best in the segment. It's not the worst. It's kind of right in the middle. It's underwhelming at times, and other times it feels like a proper German SUV. The seats are great. The fit and finish is pretty solid, but the infotainment's a mess, and just the overall packaging could be a little bit better. If you were asking my recommendation, I'd say go for it, but there are so many great options out there. Mazda CX-90, the Kia Telluride, Toyota Highlander, just to name a few. I can go on and on. Ford Explorer. So many of these mid to full size, proper 3-row crossovers, a lot to choose from. I would get the best deal you could get and see what happens next, because electric vehicles, especially in this segment, we just drove the EV9, are just around the corner. I'm Ron Doran. We'll see you next time on The Driver's Seat.